I'm going to go through this step-by-step instructions on how to calculate molar mass. I'm doing this as a video so you can stop and practice or stop and think about um, what I'm saying here as I go through this. So the molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of a substance. How much it weighs, in other words. It's measured in grams per mole. In the last worksheet, I just gave you this information, but now I'm going to show you how to calculate it. It represents the total mass of all the atoms in 1 mole. So basically, you're going to need the periodic table because an element that is heavier, like lead or mercury or something like that, it takes more grams worth of atoms to make 1 mole. So, and by 1 mole, I'm saying if you measure out, let's see, if you measure out, go back to play here. Well, we'll get into the example here in a second. So what you want to do is write the chemical formula down. Like for water example, you would write H2O. So H2O. You look up the atomic masses on the periodic table. On hydrogen, it's 1.01, for example. Oxygen would be 15.99. And then you multiply the atomic mass by the number of atoms for each. And then add everything together. So let's take a look at that example here. Let's see, done. Okay, so here's our water example. Hydrogen, you look it up on the periodic table. You see that you have 2 of them, so you got to multiply. Let me annotate this. So you multiply 2 times 1.01. Again, that information, this hydrogen right here, is found on the periodic table. Oxygen, there's only 1 oxygen atom, so you just multiply it by 1. I mean, obviously you don't even have to multiply it. Then you just simply add these all 3 together. So that's basically how to do simple ones like that. Here's another simple one: sodium chloride. Notice there's no subscript. Let's go back. There's no subscript. It's just assumed that it's 1 and 1 if there's no subscript. So just simply look them up on the periodic table. Sodium is 22.99. Chlorine is 35.45. Add them together, just like this here. Just simply add them together, and that's the answer. Now it gets a little more complicated when we have, let me annotate here. When we have these parentheses, the parentheses affect everything inside the parentheses. So instead of just having 1 sulfur, because notice it doesn't have any subscript, so we assume it's 1, it has 3 sulfurs because we're multiplying by 3 here. And instead of having 4 oxygen, we have 12 oxygen. And we have 2 aluminum. Let's do the example, calcium nitrate. So we look up calcium, and since this 2 multiplies to both to nitrogen, so you have 2 nitrogens, and now because 2 times 3 is 6, you have 6 oxygens. But without the parentheses, it would just be 1 calcium, 1 nitrogen, and 3 oxygen, but that's not the case. Let's see. So if you want to calculate that, break it down. You've got 1 calcium atom. You got 2 nitrogen atoms, because don't forget the parentheses mean you got to double everything that's in the parentheses. 6 oxygen atoms. So look up the molar mass. Calcium is 40.08, nitrogen's 14.01, and oxygen 16. So calcium, again, you don't multiply anything because it's just one. Nitrogen is 14.01, so you multiply it by 2, that gives you 28.02. Oxygen, there's 6 oxygen, that's a lot. So you multiply 6 times 16 and write that down. So you just do these line by line. It's best to use paper. Let's see, go back here. And get all these 3 results, and then in the end you just add them up. So it's good to have a calculator and a pen and pencil handy to do these. I'm going to have you guys do a couple examples. So do carbon dioxide on your notes there, and that's it.